Shambho Jai Shambho Jai Shambho Jai Shambho 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 Rigada par pagya papagya Rigada pada par pagya Shambho Jai Shambho 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 Jai Shambho Jai Shambho Jai Shambho Jai Shambho Jai Shambho
Some keys.
That was more fun than this. An announcement before we begin. I know some of you are coming just for the Adhyāsa classes. So there's going to be 3 more of them starting today, because evening classes are also going to be classes on this topic. So if you want to follow from elsewhere live, then Sahadev is the person to see. And if you want to catch up later on, then you can, little later, maybe a day or so, then you can go to the livestream.com/Swaminiji, SWAMINIJI. You can go there and it will be uploaded in a day or so. So that is what I wanted to just inform, so we can, you won't be missing whatever it is that we do, continuation of this in the evening, today, tomorrow, and day after, 3 days. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Katham punaha pratyagatmani avishaye adhyasaha vishayatadharmanam sarvo hi purovasthite eva vishaye vishayantaram adhyasyati yushmat pratyaya apetasya cha pratyagatmanaha avishayatvam bravishi uchyate na tavadayam ekantena avishayah asmat pratyaya vishayatvat aparokshatvat cha pratyagatma prasiddhehe na cha ayamasti niyamaha purovasthite eva vishaye vishayantaram adhyasitavyam iti apratyakshe api hi akashe balaha talamalinatadi adhyasyanti evam aviruddhaha pratyagatmani api anatma adhyasaha. Yeah. So the contention is yatra yatra adhyasaha, then yatra yatra adhyasaha tatra tatra adhishthānatvam. And that adhishthana, wherever there is adhyasa, there has to be what? Adhishthana, and the adhishthana has to be not just present but available. And the only mistake that the Purva Pakshi is correct in this assumption, the only mistake the poor fellow made is in thinking available means objectifiable by the senses. To put it in Sanskrit, Indriya Gocharatvam Syat. So, the Indriya Gocharatvam means to be an object of the Indriyas must be a condition for the Adhyasa to take place. This is his contention. And then, of course, we have to see what it implies. It implies that Atma is not available for the sense organs or any pramana. What pramana you can, objectify Atma? No pramana. And therefore, how can you have Adhyasa, upon that Atma which you yourself as a Vedantin say it is not at all a Vishaya. In fact, it is Asmat Pratyaya Vishaya. And so it's a Vishayam Iva Vishaya. It's not really a object. It's the subject matter of I cognition. So the contention that wherever there is Adhyasa, then the locus of the Adhyasa, and the locus is Adhishthana, must be available for perception, like the seen silver, is going to be refuted. So how can you say, this is his contention, how can you say Atmani Anatma Adhyasa is possible? And so he very softly starts off, Uchyate, not just me saying it, everyone who knows something, is saying this, and he gives a very beautiful, refutation. A very determined and a total refutation, but a beautiful refutation by talking, and we have seen this, so I'm just summing it up by saying that, yes, you are absolutely right, that whatever is the Adhyasa, wherever there is Adhyasa, a locus should be there. And the locus should be knowable as the locus. He's changing it a little bit. The locus should be knowable as the locus. And here what is the problem? Because the locus is well known as I. So the I is the locus. It doesn't have to be a product of the sense organs. Like you don't have to force yourself to see something under a microscope when something is readily available for the sight. Which is in plain sight, why will you use a microscope or a telescope to look at that? An object that's already there. And so too, here the microscope stands for pramana. What is pramana? Any means of knowledge which establishes something. So, Atma doesn't need a means of knowledge. It cannot be objectified. And that we already know, and that even the Purva Pakshi knows. What he doesn't know, and Adi Shankara points out, is that it need not be objectified because it is there in plain view as I, plainly evident. The self is nothing but self-evident, and that which is self-evident, you don't need another source or a means of knowledge to amplify. Imagine someone comes from some other solar system. Let's say they come for a tour, and you are the one giving them the tour. And then you have to show them everything because they don't know anything. And let's assume that there is some kind of a translation where they are following what you say. And then you have to say, this is our sun. So, do you need a candle to show the sun? No. The very thought of showing the sun with the help of a candle or a flashlight is silly because the sun here, like the Atma, is self-evident. In fact, it brings everything to light, including your objection. So, this is what the Purva Pakshi is being told. And he's being told in a very systematic way and a very shastric way, because here is where in modern Vedanta there can be a lot of confusion. Because, people conclude in modern Vedanta, Atma is beyond the mind, beyond, and they'll extend the word beyond the senses, beyond all means of knowledge. Yeah, so much so that there is one Swami beyond Ananda. Yeah. He is not a Swami, but his name is Swami Beyond Ananda. He's actually a cartoonist, or was. Yeah, California somewhere, where all these things come from. And yeah, very creative people, and they have a sense of humor, and so they, and they make these kinds of jokes. So, yes, Atma is beyond, but it's not beyond itself. Hello. That is what has to be, this is modern Vedanta confusion, that if it is beyond, then it cannot be known. How do I know the Atma and why? And then the fact that it is knowable because it is mistaken. It has to be known because it is mistaken. This adhyasa is important because of that mistake. And to know that, you need the Shastra Drishti, the vision of the Shastra, which is not outside of your own aspirations. If the vision of the Shastra was outside your aspiration, like for example, if the Shastra said that, you are an idiot, you are lonely, this is your lot. You may agree in the beginning, it sounds similar. Yeah, I also feel like an idiot 75% of the time, and 95% of the time I'm no good, 100% of the time I'm, lonely. All these things you may feel. But then you say, wait a minute, that's not I. Immediately. Why? Darshanat, where? Supte. In the sleep, you have a different reality. In sleep, you are Ananda. In sleep, all these things are not there. And also in the waking state, all the striving is to be what? Is to be somebody, is to accomplish something, is to shine, is to want something or the other that is so, that is so close to you, which is everything. One wants to be Ishvara, simple. So, one's own experience, it is in keeping the vision of the Shastra Drishti is in keeping with your own aspirations. And therefore, Shastra is needed to do this ajnana, nirasanam, to remove this adhyasa. Shastra is needed. And, all this comes in. Otherwise, if we accept we have to also see, what if the Purva Pakshi, we prove him right and we say, yes, you are right. Atma, there can be no adhyasa on Atma. Then what happens? Shastra becomes badha, useless. You negate the Shastra. You negate the need for the Guru. You negate the need for jijnasa. You negate the need for a committed study. And so therefore, this is very important to see the answer in this particular, from this particular background. And so the answer is very ingenious, because the answer says, first, Adi Shankara says, it is not totally unavailable. Because the very fact, dear sir, that you are talking to me shows that, you are the witness of your own body, mind, sense complex, and the Atma, I, is what is making you talk, so to speak. And then therefore, it is very much available. Yes, I agree with you, it's not available as an object. And so what is the only way it is available? As the very subject, the content of the word you, upon which even the status of the knower is adhyastha, superimposed. So you are trying to have a vada with me, and you are saying, I know that you are wrong. And what about this I know? That I know itself is adhyastha on the Atma, is superimposed. We are talking of that upon which even the status of the knower and known and the means of knowledge, all of them are as though superimposed. And so he says that it is not totally unavailable. He gives 3 reasons. And then the second reason is because it is evident as I. Second reason, asmat pratyaya gocharatvat. And then aparokshatvat. Aparoksha meaning it is available all the time. And that's how we ended the class. Alupta drik. A seer who is never seen. And this is what is talked about in that famous, text, Vedanta text. Drig, drishya, viveka. Rupam drishyam, lochanam drik. Tad drishyam, driktu manasam. Drishyaha dhivrittaya sakshi, drigevanatu drishyate. What does that mean? If you want to see form, then you take the help of what? Eyes, yeah, don't say microscope, okay, yeah. You take the help of lochanam, eyes. But if there is some problem with the eyes, then how do you know? How is the problem with the eye objectified? The mind objectifies the eyes. Or you stand in front of the mirror to see if something is going on, and that's how you know something is wrong with the eye. Oh, it looks red, it looks irritated, whatever it is. Then, what about the mind? Is the mind the ultimate seer? So the eyes are not the ultimate seer, because when there is a problem with the eyes, immediately you go one step further and say it's not the eyes, it's the mind that is objectifying the eyes. But when the mind itself is an object, because you can see each and every thought in the mind, then who is the seer? Drik, the seer who is never seen. This is aparoksha. Aparokshatvam means two things. One is, implies two things. One is, it is always the subject, never an object, and it is ever available in an unchanging fashion. That is the whole thing. It's always available in an unchanging way. It's not going to change. It's not going to say, I'm tired, I'm going to stop looking. It's ever available, as the Sakshi. Is Sakshi Atma? Yes. But Atma is not Sakshi. Otherwise, you will imagine some kind of a blob called Atma with eyes without eyelids, constantly looking. Yeah. Already we live in a surveilled society. Everywhere there are cameras. And then on top of that there is Atma Cam, in the form of this keeping on looking. That's not the idea. Because it is free of action. It is not, the looking is not an action. Even the looking or the capacity for observation is adhyastha upon the eye, which is free of looking. Really. Then why do you say looker, seer? Because that's how pratyagatma siddhi, he's going to say pratyagatma prasiddhehe. He is doing pratyagatma siddhi. He is establishing that this Atma, which we are talking about, how are you recognizing it? You are recognizing it as the content, the truth of the body-mind-sense complex. How do you know it is the content, the truth of the body-mind-sense complex? Because with the help of this I sense, I can sense the body, I can objectify the body, I can objectify the mind, I can objectify the senses. So therefore, that is the only way the Atma is known. So the Sakshi is the last frontier of duality, and ultimately that also has to be dropped. You can't just get stuck with the idea that Atma is witness. Sakshi. Because when there is nothing to witness, then what will Atma do? It will be unemployed. It will have to collect unemployment. But that's not the case, because the witness itself is as though superimposed upon that which is essentially free of witnessing. But it is available to take on the mantle of the witness when there is something to witness. And that's why the I, aham pratyaya gochara, and this cognition and I cognition, that separation is very important to enter into Vedanta, because that's how you say you are different from what you witness. But that is just the beginning. That is Vedanta 101. But we can't stay there. Then we say what? And this is where we are headed here in this Bhashya. And I'm just going to say it so that when it comes, it will come a little later. When it comes, we are expecting it. So, where are we getting ready to go? First, we separate subject, object. Object is different from the subject. Object is Pramana Siddha, subject is Svata Siddha. Object needs to be established by a Pramana, by a means of knowledge. Subject does not needs to be established aparokshatvat because it is self-evident. This is the first premise of any kind of a study, because you have to separate, because otherwise Atma is already mixed up. How do you separate? This is how you separate. And then later, that is why the study of Adhyāsa is very important, because later we see everything is a superimposition upon the Atma, including this I cognition. That I, I referencing, that I cognition, how do you sense the I cognition? That is Svata Siddha, all right. But usually it has a little connection with the witness. So that witness itself, the status of witness is Adhyastha on the Atma. Now, everything is Atma, correct? Even objects of this cognition are Atma alone. Otherwise they would be Advaita Hani, they would be loss of Advaita. So even things connected to this cognition are Atma alone. Things, the Atma, which is the subject matter of I cognition, is Atma. Everything is Atma. Atma is not any one thing. And so how do we do this now? First we have separated. And we have said the two have nothing to do with each other. One is like a sun and the other one is like night. There is day and night difference between the two. And then we say, when we study Adhyāsa, the status of witness superimposed upon the Atma, which is free of being the witness, and then the status of witnessed, Sakshya, also superimposed upon the Atma, which is free of being witnessed. So this cognition superimposed upon the Atma. I know I am that, witnessing the I with the help of the mind, that status of witness. So this cognition superimposed upon the Atma, I am the observer of this cognition, also superimposed on the Atma. To put it in Sanskrit, Pramata, superimposition upon the Atma, Prameya, that which is to be known, Pramata, knower, the status of knower superimposed upon the Atma. And the status of known, which is really products of this cognition, superimposed upon the Atma. The operation of the Pramana, sight, hearing, etc., superimposed upon the Atma. So Prameya, Pramata, Pramana are all, nothing but Atma. Not outside of the Atma, they are Adhyastha, as it were, on the Atma. So therefore, what is Atma? Neither Pramata, not the knower, not the known, and not the means of knowledge. So what happened to I cognition, this cognition separation? Gone. This is what the whole thing is. So that is where we have to graduate. Yeah, that's why we are having a weekend intensive of 3 classes. So this is where this is headed, and so that's why he gives the answer in this particular way, that it is he says, he gives 3 reasons. One is, it's not totally unknown, because it is you, because it's evident as I. Second reason. And third reason is because it is never away. Away from what? Away from the witness and the object of that which it witnesses. Aparoksha, it's always there. It's always available. And so, therefore, this is, he gives 3 reasons. And then he says, now the Pratyagatma Siddhi has taken place. And what is Pratyagatma Siddhi? This is exactly, we have already discussed it, that there is this inner self that is available for that I sense, and that this inner self, which is the I sense, is, is aparoksha, is asmat pratyaya gochara, is ekantena avishayatvam nasti yasya. So, what is this inner sense of I is always available and is the content of the I cognition, the truth of the I cognition. And then finally it is, it is aparoksha, it is ever the unchanging I, on which all these things are adhyastha. And then this pratyagatma is brought in to do the nirasanam. Nirasanam means to remove, to do the nirasanam of what? Of this sadrishyam argument. What is the sadrishyam argument? Go back to the conditions for adhyasa to take place. Go back to that list and you will see the last one. And what is the last condition? Similarity. Similarity. Like on the rope, I can only see what? Hello? Yeah. On the rope, I cannot see elephant. Right? And so here, to counter or to refute this similarity argument, he brings in this inner self, concept, which is asanga, which is not similar to anything else. So he brings in that, only remembering that similarity argument, similarity as a condition for adhyasa to take place. And now what does Atma and Anatma, what do they have in common? Nothing. Zero. And so much so, Atma has nothing to do with Anatma. Nothing to do with anything that it does not take on the superimpositions. That's why we have to say as though superimposed. I told you we have to hang, one big as though here. Like this. Or the Vedanta teacher has to permanently go like this all the time. No other option. So it does not take on the superimpositions. That's why when you complain, I am sad, it allows you to complain. Life after life after life, patiently, it allows you to complain. It doesn't say, hello, I'm Satchidananda. What's wrong with you? Not a sound it makes. I'm an idiot. ठीक है, okay. It is big enough to accommodate your smallness. It is limitless enough to accommodate any mistakes because doesn't have any kind of a truck with either the I sense or the ahankara or even this cognition. It doesn't have any truck. I am ignorant. It doesn't say, how can, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma, you are all knowledge. No. I need a guru. If you say, it doesn't say, let me Google a few good ones and then give you one. No. You get no help from Atma, not even to oppose even a single mistake. That's why Adhyasa continues, correct? So the Adhyasa does not, this is very important, when he says Pratyagatma Siddhi, he says this inner I is not affected by all the things that it takes on, as it were. All the Adhyasa, even if you heap a few more Adhyasa, it will still sit quietly. I'm a great student, I have very important things to do, I'm studying Bhāṣya. Okay. Well, I did not understand the last class. Okay. Well, I must not be such a good student. Okay. No, why only target the students? I'm a great teacher. Okay. Well, I'm not such a good teacher. Okay. It doesn't contradict. It doesn't do anything. Any notion, everything is a notion. Things to do, places to go, people to see. Okay. Oh, nothing came out of it. Okay. I am drowning in misery. Okay. Doesn't contradict. How can you be, you are the Atma, misery cannot touch you. No, okay. And then you say, no thanks to you, I have found Adhyāsa-Vidya Gurukulam. You're angry with the Atma by now. It's not doing anything, it's not helping at all. And then what does it say? Nothing. Okay. So be it. Now I am angry with you. Why didn't you take me to the ashram when I was 5 years old? You know? Chup. Quiet. It neither helps nor does it defend itself. It neither agrees nor disagrees. It neither is the doer nor is it done in. And so therefore, there is no similarity with it and anything else that might be mistaken for it. So therefore he says, Pratyagatma Siddhi is important. Then the Purva Pakshi, who could have been quiet till now, could get up and say, wait, if this is the case, if Atma does not take on any single thing ever in its life, then where is the Adhyāsa? Where is the Adhyāsa? You know? How is this Adhyāsa possible? Well, the answer to that is because it is experienced on a day-to-day level. Even though the Atma is not affected, what does the person say? Karta aham. I am the doer. I did something wonderful. And then, oh wait, I am done in by other people's doings. I am guilty. Constantly guilty. One person says. The other person says, I am hurt. Constantly hurt. And then what? They get married to one another. Guilty marries hurty. Yeah. So marriage made in heaven. Yeah. Guilty keeps on apologizing. You know, at the drop of a hat. And for the one who is hurt, no amount of apology is ever enough. This is what happens. And Atma sits, chup chap, does nothing to, remove this notion. Does nothing to bring you to the Shastra, does nothing to remove the Adhyāsa. But then Adhyāsa is there. Why? Because again it is experienced, and that which is experienced need not be established by another means of knowledge. Because it's directly experienced. You know what? If fire is hot, and you know that because you have accidentally been burnt, you don't need some kind of a scientific, thermometer to say, oh, this is this many degrees and the burn takes place at this many degrees. You don't need a thermometer. Because it is directly there. You don't need one more yantra to do this. And so therefore he says, this Pratyagatma, even though it has nothing to do with what is superimposed upon it, becomes the sitting duck for superimpositions. And since it's in the nature of all light and brings everything to light and makes everything evident, it just amplifies your ignorance. It's like a mouthpiece for your ignorance. I am ignorant. Okay, it has brought that to light. I don't know myself. Okay, it brings that to light. And so therefore, it amplifies or magnifies or brings to light the Adhyāsa even though it has no similarity with that which is Adhyastha upon it. So the locus of Adhyāsa here, Pratyagatma, the locus of Adhyāsa, I, has nothing in common with that which is projected on it. And yet it takes on as though the projection, even though it is unafflicted, and then what does it do? It displays, amplifies that projection. And he gives an example, Yatha, just as And what is the example? Oh, but first he says, Nacha ayamasti niyamaha. So therefore he says, there is no such rule. Ayam niyamaha na asti. No such rule exists. And what kind of rule? Puro avasthite vishaye eva vishayantaram adhyasyanti or adhyasitavyam. There is no such rule that locus upon which something is adhyastha, projected, should be evident through a means of knowledge. Puro avasthita should be indriya gochara, evident to the pratyaksha pramana, like eyes, ears, etc. Indriya sannikarshatvam, indriya samyuktatvam is not necessary. Any contact with the sense organs is not necessary for that, for something to be a locus of projection. There is no such rule. So he is scratching out that last, that last condition, that there should be a similarity, even when there is no similarity between what? Between the locus and the projection. The projection can and does take place, and the projection is displayed for all to see. Such as, the space. Is space evident through, the space is evident to you through which means of knowledge? Do you see space? Yes? Huh? No, you don't see space. You don't hear space. Space doesn't have a particular smell you pick up. You can't touch space. So space is not really evident except through, but it is evident. How is it evident? It is evident through a peculiar, means of knowledge, which is, which we don't consider separate because it still comes under pratyaksha, witness pratyaksha. Sakshi pratyakshatvena akashaha bhāsate. So through some kind of a witnessing, an inner witnessing, that space exists. Like you're walking, let's say at night, and then you suddenly get a creepy feeling. What is the feeling? Someone is too close for comfort, or someone is following. How do you know? You haven't seen. You're yet to turn around and see, and you're yet to get alarmed if that's the case, but somehow there is this creepy feeling that somebody is behind you. That is Sakshi Pratyaksha. This is how space is cognized. Same way, time is also cognized in the same way, Sakshi Pratyaksha. Witness perception. Like for example, you're waiting for your friend to pick you up. And then finally you keep calling them, but you're not looking at the time, let us say. You called them a couple of times and then you just, when they pulled up, you said, "How come you're 15 minutes late?" Without looking at the time. You were the witness of the perceiving time. This is what is called witness perception. Through witnessing time, you immediately knew what? 15 minutes have elapsed. Similarly, space is also cognized through what is called witness perception, Sakshi Pratyaksha. So, on this space, which is not similar to anything, because which cannot even be, which is barely cognized as an object, on this space, balaha means avivekinaha. Not exactly children, but people who don't know much. Adhyasyanti. Adhyasyanti means what? They project. What do they project? Blueness. Neelata. Blue sky. There is no such thing as blue sky. And so that blueness is referred to by the word tala, surface. So the blue surface, that canopy that you see, is an adhyasa. Even physics will tell us that, correct? That it is not really there. Because of some atmospheric things, it appears that way. Similarly, on the same space, sky, you project a sunset, sunrise. And then you project, this is a great, space. Why? Because fog is there, clouds are there. So tala, surface, the blue surface, malinata. Malinata means impurities, like grayness. And sometimes there is a yellowish, brownish thing. What is that? Smog. And then you say, oh, too much pollution. The question now is space polluted? No. Space is free of that pollution. Space is free of the pollution, but to you, the seer, it looks as though space has come into contact with pollution and space is polluted. And when he says malinata, somehow he has some kind of a prophetic, it has a prophetic note, because he was foreseeing atmospheric pollution. Even though there were no cars in his time, he was able to somehow foresee this. That's what makes it so timeless. So on this space that is free of tala, free of a bottom or a top or the sides, here we say, oh, the sky is like a wonderful roof. Roof from your standpoint. It's not a roof. The sky is, blue. Again, another mistake. These are all adhyasa. The sky is dark and grey. Sky means space. Sky is upalakshana for space. And then the sky is the atmosphere is so polluted, it's terrible. What is this world coming to? Why are people always putting so much, carbon monoxide and all these things in the environment, carbon dioxide and all this in the environment? This is what the whole thing is. All this is based on adhyasa, and this adhyasa is happening where? On an object with space, which is not easily objectifiable, which is only sensed through that witnessing. And similarly, what a lovely example. Similarly, the Atma is also sensed through what? Witnessing. That witness perception, Pratyagatma. So both have a lot in common. Space and Pratyagatma, so to speak, have a lot in common. But only difference is Pratyagatma can witness space. Space cannot witness Pratyagatma. Space is still a product of this cognition. So Pratyagatma and space, for the sake of this example, have a lot in common. Both are witnessed internally and both are, understood through this witness perception. In the case of Pratyagatma is understood as the witness of all perceptions, and the Akasha here is understood as a product of witness perception. That's the slight difference, but the witness is common to both. And then what? And then both of them, therefore, can become sitting ducks for adhyasa. Why? Because if they are not known fully, then what happens? We can project things easily, even though the locus has nothing to do with what is projected. So the space doesn't have to be dirty, the space doesn't have to be blue in order for the blueness to be adhyastha. This is a very big thing. So keep your similarity argument to yourself, because there is enough of a similarity here. There is, we don't need this similarity argument here because it's not the clincher. And here something else is going on. And let me show you that there is no such rule that the locus must be similar to that to that which is projected upon it. There is no such rule, like even space, which is mistaken for blue sky, polluted sky, red sky, etc., while the sky is neither red nor blue nor polluted. Okay? So, talamalinatati balaha. Balaha means people who haven't thought much about this. Adhyasyanti, on a regular basis. Evam aviruddhaha. Therefore, this is uncontradicted. What is uncontradicted? Pratyagatmani api. That api means this is darshtanta. This api means also. So too, in the case of pratyagatma, which is also witness consciousness, just like the space, which is the witness perception. Here also this is witness consciousness as obtaining in the body-mind-sense complex. So, anatma adhyasa is there. Anatma adhyasa is there. Even without indriya pratyakshatvam, even without indriya gocharatvam, even without the sense organs coming into the picture. Atmani anatma adhyasaha siddhaha. So in the Atma, which is free of all anatma, Krishoham, Sthuloham, Kanoham, Badhiroham, I'm this, I'm that, I'm short, I'm tall, I'm fat, I'm thin, I'm hungry, I'm restless, I'm bored, I'm an idiot, all those things, which is anatma, are superimposed on the Atma, which is free of all those things, because it doesn't do anything to defend itself from the superimposition, it just brings it to light. That's how one seeks a teacher, because one has this adhyasa. I am ignorant. This is adhyasa. I am knowledgeable. Adhyasa. I need a teacher. Adhyasa. I need shastra. Adhyasa. I need Vedanta. Also adhyasa. And all this, this doesn't give you, what is that? License to not come to the evening class, okay? Yeah. So, but this is what it is. It's all adhyasa, 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 all the way. Therefore, evam aviruddhaha. This, my definition of adhyasa stands uncontradicted, Adi Shankara says. So this definition of adhyasa on, that the Atma is subject to adhyasa, which we had talked about, is uncontradicted, And then we come to another, that concludes this section of the Bhashya. What was its name? The tenability of adhyasa, or to put it in Sanskrit, Adhyāsa-Sambhāvana. Now we come to another section whose title is Ajnana Lakshanam, or something like that. I may be making that up, so let me look it up and give you the correct title, okay? Yeah, somewhere it is there. So that was the tenability or otherwise of the adhyasa. And then superimposition, Ajnana Lakshanam. So this is now the definition of self-ignorance. Ayyo, we have gone for 2 pages without defining self-ignorance. Isn't this all Vedanta is about? And what's wrong with Bhashyakara? Because this is the bread and butter of Vedanta. What is? Self-ignorance. And so self-ignorance has to be what? Defined. Right from the beginning, that is our bread and butter, that is our topic. What was the Bhashyakara doing? Was he sitting and eating bananas? Why didn't he take up the topic of avidya right from the beginning? Fortunately, we have already answered this question, so it can move a little faster. Avidya or ajnanam does not cause problems by itself. Kevala ajnanam, atma ajnanam does not cause problems. I told you, the dog doesn't know that there is a spelling mistake in its name and it should be G-O-D. It doesn't know that. But it still goes on. It doesn't try to correct, defend itself. It's not miserable unless it's starved, beaten, or abused in other ways. It seems to be having a gala time. When I told you the story of the dogs in childhood that I had encountered, yeah, you should have seen them. With each one on one side of this big car just for them, going on a round. In a country like India, where even, most human beings also cannot even, dream of sitting in such a big Chevrolet car with the tongues hanging out and enjoying the wind and all their hair blowing back, they were having a gala time, no problem at all, And whenever they saw the children, they would bark. This was their job. This is what, So from this and from all other observations, it is evident that ajnanam does not cause problems on its own. So too, like for people, sometimes they have, sometimes babies are born that are developmentally challenged. One such small child was put in my lap. The mother just put in the lap. And nobody knew what was wrong with him. Nobody. And he was maybe, a year and a few months old. Did not hear, did not see, never opened his eyes, could not eat, had to be fed with a tube, and just lay there like baby Krishna. That's all. Very peacefully, just lay there. And he was born after many years of marriage, so the parents were really looking forward to his birth. And he just lay there, and and all children's hospitals, all tests, nothing. He was just one with Bhagavan, he just lay there peacefully. Did not even cry, not once, And nobody knew what was wrong. And so the mother put the child in my lap, and then, I said, he is your guru, he is your teacher. And she burst into tears. She said, this is exactly what I and my husband have found out. And then she told me that they were always fighting, she and her husband. And after the birth of this baby, seeing its peacefulness, and they just stopped. They learned to get along wonderfully. And after I heard later on that the baby just passed away because it was, life could not be sustained in this body. And so like this, there are so many kinds of examples, whether one is in a permanently vegetative state. It is called PVS. There also, ajnana is there, but no anyatha grahanam, no adhyasa. Permanently vegetative state. Like sometimes I've gone to see people in the hospital on a feeding tube, no motor functions, only some jerks or something like that, that's all. But again, they are one with Bhagavan, one with all the, trees, animals, etc. Ajnanam is there, adhyasa is not there. Correct? And in sleep, in sleep for you also, ajnanam is there. Because when you get up, you say, I don't know anything. Sukhamaham asvapsam nakinchidavedisham. I've slept so well that I don't remember, I don't know anything. And strangely enough, the sleep of the knower of Brahman and the sleep of the one who does not know Brahman is one and the same. In sleep, both are ajnaha. In fact, prajnaha, prakarshena ajnaha. Totally, doubly ignorant. They don't know anything. It's not that the Vidwan, the knowing one, snores and in the snoring comes Tattvamasi sound. No. Ajnaha. And it is the same with whether we are talking of aparavidya, relative knowledge, or paravidya, absolute knowledge. Like when the musician goes to sleep, the snores are not in Shruti. Okay? They are not on a scale. It will always be apashruti. It will be horrible to hear. If you record a musician sleeping and then they are snoring and then play it to them, they will just go like this when they are awake. They're like, oh, I have pitch perfect sense. How could I do this? Because you are Ajñā. Aparavidya, Ajñā. And then Paravidya also, I know this Bhāṣya. You're not mouthing off the Bhāṣya in sleep. In sleep, Ajñā. Whether you are a Vidvan or Avidvan, both are equally Ajñā. So therefore, this Ajñānam is not the cause of problems. It is the wrong knowledge. It is the projections that cause samsara. Samsaritvam is because of adhyasa. Therefore, first adhyasa siddhi. And adhyasa is the karana, is the karya of ajnanam, not karana, karya of ajnanam. Because the ajnanam, karya means what? Effect. So the effect of ajnanam in the form of adhyasa binds, troubles and sends the people on a spin, and that is what has to be addressed. And so therefore Bhashyakara first addresses adhyasa, and then now he is going to show the sambandha, the sangati between adhyasa and atma ajnana. Very interesting sections are going to come up. We'll see this in the 5 o'clock class. If you're not going to be here and if you would like to take it from home, please see Sahadev. Otherwise, if you can catch up later, you can go to livestream.com/Swaminiji, where a lot of other talks are also archived. You can, take up any text and study that. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.